Welcome back, magical hands. Welcome to another sewing tutorial. So if you haven't seen the pattern drafting of this tutorial, do have to check the link in the description box on how to draft the pattern for this tutorial, and make sure you're a subscriber in order to get more content like this. So without any further ado, let's get into this video proper. So the first thing I'm going to do is to cut out the pattern paper on my fabric and also on my lining. So I already have them assembled, but for the number one piece, I'm going to be cutting it on a fold because that's the center piece. So now that I've cut it all, this is what it looks like. I already cut it on my main fabric and also on my lining fabric. So the lining is going to be used to cover up the rough edges. I'm going to use it to turn the main piece. So let's get into the sewing part. Now I'm going to take out my patterns and I'm going to start working on the number 1 and 2. I'm going to couple them together. So I'm going to keep the lining aside and I'll start sewing. So whatever I do to the main fabric is what I'll be doing to the lining as well. Now if you see the way I am going to be attaching this, I'm not going to start sewing from the top part. I'm going to start sewing from the bottom to the top. In case there's any excess, I get to trim from the top instead of the bottom part. So I would advise you do same. It's going to be more accurate when you start sewing from the bottom part, just like I am doing in this video. Make sure you take your time in sewing this. Make sure you apply the key tips in getting a perfect job, which is patience, ironing, as well as trimming out the rough edges as well. So while we keep doing that, let me welcome my new subscribers. If you're new to this family, thank you for joining us, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back. Now I'm going to attach my number 3 piece to the already sewn 1 and 2 piece together. So I'm going to attach from the bottom. Like I said, it's better to trim the rough edges from the top part in order not to affect the little box shape we gave to this at the lower part. Plus we need accuracy, right? So let's go with that. So I'm actually using a satin fabric. So this fabric is really light and it might not be looking as fine as expected yet, but trust the process. So the next thing now is to fix in my boning. So I bought this boning that you can actually sew on. All along I've been using the one that you can't even sew on. That one will just break your needle immediately. So I decided to get this one because I really want to sew on the boning. I don't want to fix it in a boning case. So now I'm going to open up the allowance, the sewing allowance, and I'm going to sew right on it, if possible on the middle of the sewing line, if you can get it that perfectly. So now I'm going to place it as seen. I'm just going to open it up like that, and I'm going to sew down on all the sewing lines that I have on the front piece. So make sure to do this as well to all the lines or the joining lines. This is what it's going to be looking like, and it's going to give it a very perfect fit. Now this boning case, this boning that we're fixing in, is also going to help your blouse. It's going to give the corset a no bra effect. So I am actually a 39, my bust is a 39, and then I get to wear this without a bra and I'm not bothered about any single thing. Well, you can also attach the boning to your lining instead of the main case if you don't want the process that I did. All the same, it all works well. So I'm going over to my back piece. I'm going to notch the zipper side so I don't get mistaken on what I am working with. So don't forget, anything you do to the main fabric, make sure you do it to the lining as well. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the back piece together. That is the dart. I'll sew it up together, and yeah, once I am done with that, I'll repeat the same process to my lining as well, and then I'll go ahead to the next step. Now at this point, I'm going to attach my main fabric to my lining, just like I told you all to repeat all the same process did to the main fabric on the lining. Now it's time to close up the rough edges, so I'm going to place the right face of the main fabric on the right face of the lining. So I'm going to sew all round except for the zipper allowance, because that's going to enable us to flip this over to the right face. So I'm going to use my pins to hold them all round so they are well secured, and then I'm going ahead to sew as indicated, and yeah, let's see how it goes.